Okay, I'm back. This is how I mounted the unit. I guess I should back up. I thought about probably 18 different ways to mount the darn thing, but this has a sensitive temperature rating. It wants to be operated between, I think it's 32 degrees and 104 degrees. So I figured putting it up in the attic was probably not a good idea, considering it could get below 32 easily, and during the summer it could easily exceed 104 degrees. So for now, I mounted it right above the panel and door. I figured this will be the least obtrusive in order to get access to it. This way, if I also had to do anything, it's readily available. Now in here, you mainly just play with the contacts. Now this is a live system right now, so I don't want to go touching too much. This first terminal is live power. This is going to be directly to the electric panel. This jumper I had to put in order to override and get the switch to work. The documentation says this is jumped behind the scenes on the board. Well, I found out it isn't, and I couldn't get the lights to work properly until I jumped it. Once I jumped it, everything came together and worked perfectly. Of course, the neutral. This is ultimately going to be a switch leg. I initially thought this was a control wire, so I wired it as blue because all the other controls on this are wired blue. I'm going to probably switch this out to be yellow or orange so that it denotes a switch leg. Ultimately, two more neutrals. One of the neutrals gets tied into this one at the main panel. This neutral goes to the switching along with this wire, which will be the 110 current for all of the lights on the switched side. And then this is a low voltage wiring, the 0 to 10 dimmer. Now in the electric panel, I did things a little funky. Now it's no different than wire nutting things together. So ultimately, it's going to be running on a 20 amp circuit. The fixture itself is rated for 16 amps of power. So that'll easily handle all the lights I'm going to put in. Now, you're going to notice that there's two wires that I tied together in multiple locations. That's because I have to run 110 power to the switch and to the control unit. So because of that, with the way I did my configuration, I have some wires running up this side going up this pipe, and then the rest of the wires going up through this pipe. So instead of having a bunch of wire nuts and junctions in here, I just paired the wires together. So one of these is going to be for the control box, one is for the switch, same with the neutrals, and then I put in grounds as well. Then over on the switch, you'll see again it's got all the extra terminals. This one is going to be a control leg. It's going to be a switch leg. So even though right now I have it set to blue, I'm going to ultimately change that out to yellow or orange just to be consistent. And I'll show you why in just a couple seconds here. Obviously neutral, and then 110 high power. It's just how this switch works. And then the green is ground, obviously. Then over here, you're going to see a blue screw. That blue screw is where I'm ultimately going to put in the blue wires. Because when I put in additional switches, like the companion switch, the communication between the switches happens through the blue terminal. That way all the dimmers are in constant communication with each other, so I can dim the lights up or down from any switch, and all the other switches know what I did. Now in this system, obviously you can see the light is on right now. That's my test light. So right now, if I turn it off, there it goes off. Let me turn off my other work light. There. So now if I turn it on, it'll power up. And you can see the dimmer function going. Then I can turn the brightness up, turn it down, power it all the way up, off. And it's a nice little system. I kind of like this system a lot better than the first one. Now, it does get into a little bit of a mess with wiring. As you can see right now, I've got 4 wires coming to this switch. I'll be adding a 5th wire in order to get the other remote switches to work. So that means on each master switch, I'll have the 5 wires. When I get to the remote switches, here's kind of the diagram for it. This is going to be the master control switch that I just showed you. This is going to be the remote switches or the 3-way or 4-way switches, depending how you want to see it. So now the connections get crossed. So there are a number of wires to be run. So in my control box, I have things a little messy, and I'm going to clean this up. But you can see here, there's a decent set of wires to be run. In addition, right here, I just put a box underneath. And for convenience, I just put them all together. This is going to be for the second run on the other side of the garage. I just thought I'd wire this in while I was doing the conduit. So this is all the active wiring right now. And again, through the top of the panel, it's going to be this pipe and this pipe that's going to do most of the controlling. This pipe right now is what I have controlling the furnaces. So things are starting to work. I really like this system. I'm going to wire in the three-way switch and get that all programmed and get it set up, and we'll see what happens. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.